Good day to you all. This time let me spend some few words about my personal opinion on the Scholar's position inside the actual healer bracket. First of all, a short disclaimer like always. As you need 2 healers in the best case, you want to choose 2 different ones, to make use of their tools and abilities appropriately. That means you can and will clear any form of content with each healer job, and the words that follow are just my personal opinion about the experience I had playing the Scholar in preparation of my Scholar guide. So I also never played Scholar with the passion I offered for my Summoner or Dark Knight, for example. Nevertheless, there were some very important things that I recognized. First, we got the Duality system, which means if making a good use of the Scholar, you always want to weave OGCDs in between your hardcast spells. Or better to say, to avoid hardcast clipping or delaying, you want to weave them after Rune 2 or Physics sometimes. That whole thing conveys the feeling of always being busy.
He's a busy little beaver!
Which of course provides a massive complexity level that mostly leads to a more enjoyable combat style. But my issue with this is that even when having some nice healing tools like Indom or XCOG, the reward for being that busy is insanely underwhelming at the moment. When I directly compare it to the White Mage, for example, it actually seems that you need to use the double amount of spells and abilities to gain the same amount of HPS and DPS. That really doesn't feel right. In Stormblood we had more utility and above that a passive fairy healing, but now it just seems that you have to collect all your capabilities and condense it into one healing situation, may it be group, tank or emergency healing, to reach the power of the other healing jobs. Then for my second concern, which actually is more of a playstyle argument, but having access to each job and a balancing that is really good for MMO measures, playstyle is my #1 factor to choose the job I want to do endgame content with. That leads us to the Etherflow system. I really don't like it to be locked to combat, while I understand the reason behind that. But the biggest issue for me compared to the White Mage Lily system, for example, the Etherflow conveys the urge to use spells appropriately and to get rid of these Etherflow stacks in so many ways that sometimes you just throw in energy drain, because you couldn't find the right spot to weave a Sacred Soil, XCOG being on cooldown, or just want to use Indom, but its own cooldown limits the use of it inside the Etherflow window. The White Mage Lily system on the other hand is such a brilliant idea. It feels rewarding and satisfying in any way. Not only that you have very precise healing tools for either tank heal or power heal group situations that will always come up until at least 3 lilies have stacked and you start running into overcapping situations, but the best thing, spending those for healing will reward you with more damage output in the form of Afflatus Misery. On the Scholar side, it always feels like trading things on the market. Maybe my group can endure a bit longer, so I keep DPSing with energy drain, which actually is such a minimal DPS boost that sacrificing a heal or mitigation spell for it feels wrong even more. And yes, that your biggest opportunities to use Etherflow stacks are locked behind heavy cooldowns is even more unsatisfying. They definitely should give Scholars back their freedom to use Indom 3 times in a row. It has a clear downside of not having it available for a while, and Square definitely doesn't need to limit the player's choice of doing mistakes, maybe on willful risk or just by not knowing it better. Okay, even if they would remove those long cooldowns, what then? We still have Dissipation. Why is that spell still in game? It actually leads us to the much more crucial problem for Scholar. I expect this spell to be the cooldown phase, the power healer tool, and definitely something that should grant yourself the opportunity to make your own healing tools return to greatness again. But in reality, it is a faint trading tool. Actually, the Scholar seems to be more a merchant than any crafter job is. The idea is not bad, but Dissipation's healing boost only works for our GCD heals, and this is where the problem has its root. Their healing potential is actually on the level like the one of the Red Mage. Yes, we have some tools to improve their healing output like Emergency Tactics, but compared to Cure 3 or Medica 2, seriously, just stay on Broil for GCD usage. That mentioned, Broil is fine, but for AoE, what the hell is going on with Art of War? Square, really? Just spamming that at 2 targets already shall make the DPS deal for Scholars? That's really boring and annoying. I know the Scholar needs the recast timer windows, which is the reason for having it an instant cast, but it just feels so bad, and that we still have no AoE equivalent to energy drain really sucks. I'm sorry guys for all that bad words, so let me at least give you some feedback about the things I like. Recitation. I really like the idea of having a spell that can be used in such a flexible way, and they should really work on that direction. That means buffing your own GCD spells with your OGCDs. not having access to 3 different spells for one healing effort summarizing into the HPS of a single spell of another healer. Maybe they could just use skills like Recitation to return Atlo or Sokka to their former glory, making it a guaranteed crit with double shield value and heal for 1 point of ether, or something like that. The next one is Chain Stratagem. I really like that Scholar can improve the bursting phase of its party mates, and I heavily favor it over the mindless card withdrawal and placement the Astrologian suffers with. The card system really feels like a mini game inside your rotation, which can be nice and very easy content, but having a high stress level like in Eden for Savage for example, that just feels like an unnecessary complication. But more to that when I finish the Astrologian. Nonetheless, Chain Stratagem could be worked into something we have a more frequent access to, or having something offensively like Celine had back in the days, boosting the spell speed or direct hit or something like that. Okay, sorry for not having more positive feedback. Don't get me wrong, the healing system of the Scholar still feels way better than those of other MMOs. Yes, wow, I'm looking at you. But compared to the White Mage, it just feels that you spent the double amount of effort to reach the same or even less HPS and DPS. That would be okay if the group support would be way stronger and if that would grant us a much more complex and interesting playstyle. But for me, it just feels like trading in opportunities for other opportunities, or wasting them for a small DPS increase in the form of energy drain. That literally destroys the whole system for me. My idea: remove CDs from any Etherflow spender and rework Recitation to grant GCD heals a chance for an epic comeback. And definitely rework Dissipation and give energy drain the Siphon alternative like the Summoner already has, and boost its DPS output heavily. The Scholar should still be the green DPS he always was. What do you guys think about the Ferrymaster? I hope you still have your fun in playing it, or maybe you can give me some tips to handle things in a different way, to find more joy in playing the Scholar. Let us talk about that in the comment section. And if you liked this video, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button, or support me via Twitch or Patreon, and about any contribution I would be sincerely thankful. See you guys in the next video. And until then, take care and let us hope together for an amazing Scholar in the next expansion.